Welcome back to another install of Fat Leopard season. So why is Donald Trump halting NIH cancer research? Why is the man who brought you Operation Warp Speed now slamming the brakes on cancer research? Is it because he's too busy golfing with billionaires? Or is it because he's too busy handing over public health to private oligarchs? Spoiler alert, it's both. Buckle up, folks, because tonight we're diving into the swamp, and it's murkier than a Trump Tower smoothie. We're talking about an unforgivable sin, a betrayal of the American people so egregious, so blatantly self-serving, it would make even Nixon blush. That's right, folks, we're talking about the man who promised to make America great again, while simultaneously dismantling the very institutions that could save millions of lives. The self-proclaimed very stable genius seems to have missed the memo on how cancer research works. It requires funding. It requires scientists. It requires a government that doesn't prioritize personal profit over public health. But hey, who needs a cure for cancer when you can have a tax break for your private jet, right? This isn't just about politics. It's about life and death. It's about the millions of Americans battling cancer, clinging to hope, only to have their hopes dashed by a man who sees their suffering as an opportunity to line his pockets. Now let's talk about the predator-in-chief's war on science. Remember Operation Warp Speed? During his first term, political appointees tried to alter CDC reports on COVID. Now he's at it again, halting NIH communications and freezing research. Why? Because apparently science needs a presidential appointee's stamp of approval. That's right, folks. Your cancer research is now subject to the same rigorous oversight as a Trump tweet. You see, the technology behind those life-saving vaccines, mRNA, isn't just a one-trick pony. It has the potential to revolutionize cancer treatment, offering hope to countless families. But here's the kicker. While Big Back Don was happy to take credit for the miracle of mRNA vaccines, he seems less enthusiastic about funding the research that could lead to breakthroughs in cancer treatment. Why? Well, it's simple, really. Vaccines are profitable, and anything beyond is just bad for business. The hypocrisy is staggering. And let's not forget the hiring freeze and travel bans. Scientists can't meet, travel, and can't even talk about their work. The man who once boasted about cutting the red tape is now tying the hands of scientists working tirelessly to find a cure for one of the deadliest diseases on the planet. And with that, his nominee, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a prominent anti-vaccine activist with a 40-year history of promoting pseudoscience and conspiracy theories, to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. RFK Jr. is a freakazoid who thinks autism is caused by Wi-Fi, because nothing says public health like a guy who thinks 5G is a conspiracy and thinks that heroin helped him become a better reader. So to all the MAGA folks out there, your faces are being eaten by leopards, and you don't even feel the draft. Trump doesn't care about you. He cares about his billionaire buddies and his own ego. Wake up, America. Your cult leader is ripping you off. The American people, particularly those who proudly don the red hats and chant USA, seem to have a penchant for leopards. They voted for a man who promised to drain the swamp, only to watch as he filled it with alligators in $1,000 suits. But don't worry, folks, the Orange Fuhrer has a plan. A plan that involves more leopards, more faces, and a whole lot of money funneled directly into the pockets of his billionaire buddies. Let's talk about mRNA. It's simple, it's adaptable, and it just works. mRNA vaccines are like the IKEA of medicine. Easy to assemble, customizable, and surprisingly effective. They don't just fight COVID. They're out here targeting cancer, malaria, and HIV. Scientists have been working on this since the 90s, and then COVID hit. And boom, 42 days after the virus's genetic sequence was published, Moderna had a vaccine ready. But here's the kicker. mRNA vaccines are cheaper and faster to produce than traditional vaccines. They're like the Tesla of immunology, except they actually work. So why is Don the Con halting NIH cancer research? Maybe because he's too busy cozying up to his billionaire buddies who are promising an individual's unique AI-powered cancer vaccines in 48 hours? That's right, folks, 48 hours. Remember those long, agonizing years of research and development that used to go into creating vaccines? Well, mRNA technology has kicked those old methods to the curb faster than Trump can tweet a conspiracy theory. And let's not forget, mRNA vaccines are safe. They don't alter your DNA, they don't cause infertility, and they don't contain microchips. Sorry, Karen, but your iPhone already tracks you, so if you're still anti-mRNA, maybe it's time to put down the tinfoil hat and pick up a science textbook. This is the stuff of science fiction, except it's real, and it's happening right now. Now you might be asking yourself, why? Why would First Lady Trump, the supposed champion of the American people, sabotage something as crucial as cancer research? Well, my friends, it's time to talk about leopards. Donald Jessica Trump, the man who claims that windmills cause cancer, seems to have developed a sudden aversion to curing it, unless it gets him paid. Why? Because curing diseases is great for business, especially when your business partners are big pharma CEOs with pockets deeper than the Mariana Trench. Enter Larry Ellison, the Oracle chairman and Trump's new BFF. Ellison's worth over $200 billion, which is roughly the GDP of a small country. And what's he pitching? A $500 billion AI project called Stargate that promises to revolutionize healthcare. AI will detect cancer, design mRNA vaccines, and manufacture them in robotic labs. Sounds amazing, right? Too bad it's about as realistic as the deranged pumpkin's hairline. The leopards are hungry, and they've developed a taste for scientific progress. Ellison says this will create 100,000 jobs. Sure, Larry, and I'm sure those jobs will pay a living wage, just like Trump's tax cuts trickled down to the rest of us. Meanwhile, the NIH, the largest public funder of biomedical research, is canceling meetings, freezing hiring, and putting a gag order on scientists. Because why cure cancer with public funding when you can hand the keys to private billionaires? It's a cynical, predatory system, and the Cheeto Jesus is its newest spokesperson. You see, there's an old saying, if you find yourself in a hole with a leopard eating your face, you probably voted for the leopard. It's a classic bait and switch. Promise the American people affordable health care, then hand the keys to the healthcare system over to the very people who profit from their suffering. The Stargate project, $500 billion, is pocket change. And now, ladies and gentlemen, prepare to enter the realm of truly audacious grifting. Friends, meet the Stargate project, the brainchild of none other than Larry Ellison, the Oracle chairman who apparently thinks $500 billion is just a casual investment in the future of, well, his bank account mostly. Now, we're all for technological advancement, but something about Stargate smells fishier than a Trump University business seminar. Don't believe us? Take it from alleged scorned lover Elon Musk, who's throwing shade at Stargate because he wasn't invited to the grift party. Elon tweeted, "They don't actually have the money." Oh, the irony. Coming from the guy who spent $44 billion on a social media platform just to rename it X. Elon, buddy, maybe if you spent less time renaming Twitter and more time building rockets that don't explode, you'd get a seat at the table. But hey, at least you've got your flamethrowers, right? But also, Elon, we don't let Nazis in charge of our DNA. I don't know if you've heard, but there's been some not-so-good feedback on that. Ellison promises that this AI-powered behemoth will revolutionize healthcare. Cancer detection? Piece of cake. Promises that this AI-powered behemoth will revolutionize healthcare. Why not? We've got $500 billion to burn. Is Ellison truly invested in finding a cure for cancer? Or is he more interested in capitalizing on a pandemic-panicked public and a president eager to hand over the keys to the healthcare kingdom to his billionaire buddies? We'll let you be the judge, but remember, folks, when it comes to Donnie Diapers and his cronies, there's always a catch, and it usually involves draining public coffers and lining private pockets. Meanwhile, at the NIH crickets, cobwebs, and a muzzled chorus of experts. As Larry Ellison and his billionaire buddies clink champagne glasses and toast to the future of privatized healthcare, a very different scene is unfolding at the National Institutes of Health. The halls that were once bustling with brilliant minds working tirelessly to unlock the secrets of disease are now eerily silent. Labs stand empty, research projects gather dust, and the once vibrant exchange of scientific ideas has been reduced to hushed whispers in dimly lit hallways. Funding has been slashed, research grants have dried up, and a chilling silence has descended upon an institution that was once the envy of the world. Scientists, once encouraged to share their findings and collaborate openly, are now muzzled, their voices silenced by an administration that values loyalty over expertise and blind obedience over scientific inquiry. The message is clear: toe the line or get out. A billionaire scorned, a Twitter tirade ensues. Elon Musk, the self-proclaimed technoking and real-life Bond villain in the making. Well, it seems our dear Elon is feeling a little left out of the Stargate grift party, and he's taken to his favorite digital playground, Twitter. Sorry, X, we still can't take that seriously. to air his grievances. You see, in Elon's world, there's a very simple equation. Money equals power, and anyone who dares to exclude him from a lucrative scheme is clearly an idiot. Those self-driving Teslas that keep crashing into things, or catching fire, or running over pedestrians, or burning drivers' backs from overheating of seats. Yeah, we're not holding our breath for a cure for cancer from the guy who can't even deliver a pizza without incident. From rockets to riches to ridicule Elon's descent into Twitter. Tantrums is almost comical, really. Here we have the ketamine king, the richest man on the planet, who could literally launch himself into space if he wanted to, throwing a temper tantrum on socials because he wasn't invited to a party. Cry harder, cosplay maggot. Remember when Donneria said he loves the poorly educated? Well, it seems like the feeling is mutual. His followers have shown a blatant disregard for science, opting instead for gut feelings, conspiracy theories, and whatever self-serving narrative happens to be trending on Twitter that day. We've had bleach injections, fish tank cleaner cures, and claims that COVID-19 would magically disappear. Why? Because facts have a nasty habit of getting in the way of a good con. And so we come to the final act of this tragedy, the part where we shine a light on the enablers, the cheerleaders, the millions of Americans who continue to support his anti-science agenda with a fervor that borders on the religious. These are the people who show up at his rallies, who wear his merchandise, who defend his every lie with the unwavering conviction of true believers. Section 1. The High Cost of Low Expectations. America's Descent into Scientific Illiteracy. And so, dear viewers, we arrive at the crux of this national nightmare, the bitter pill we must swallow as we confront the consequences of our collective complacency. We've traded critical thinking for blind faith, scientific literacy for partisan dogma, and the pursuit of truth for the echo chamber of confirmation bias. Watching as we became a nation where expertise is derided, where facts are malleable, and where the very notion of objective truth is met with suspicion and scorn, we've lowered the bar so far that we're practically tripping over it, and the consequences are dire. Because here's the bottom line. mRNA vaccines are a game changer. They're cheaper, faster, and more effective than traditional vaccines. They could eradicate cancer, malaria, and HIV. But instead of funding this research, Hairplug Hitler is handing over public health to private oligarchs. The NIH is being gutted, scientists are being silenced, and the CDC is being politicized. Meanwhile, his billionaire buddies are promising AI-powered miracles that may never happen. It's a grift, plain and simple, and the only people paying the price are the American people. We're witnessing the erosion of trust in institutions, the rise of conspiracy theories, and the increasing polarization of our society. This isn't just about Trump, folks. Science doesn't care about your politics. Cancer doesn't care if you're red or blue, and mRNA doesn't care if you believe in it or not. But if we don't fund research and trust the experts, we're all going to pay the price. We've become a nation of intellectual couch potatoes, content to passively consume whatever pre-digested information is spoon-fed to us through our screens. Until next time, stay skeptical, stay informed, and for the love of God, get vaccinated. Bird flu is on the loose and Trump has ordered stopped communications for the CDC. Good night, America.